Okay. Oh, hello.
If we're talking,
Oops, sorry. Is it too late?
we just have to be cognizant that we can't use names when we talk about applicants.
Got it. Okay, good point.
Which kind of,
Thank
yeah.
If we do, then maybe we should shut the video off.
Right. If we're going to talk about something that has to be private, just let me know,
Yeah.
and we will take a hiatus while we're doing it. That's fine.
Yeah, we may have to do that because
That's fine.
a lot
That's
of
fine.
information. Okay.
That's fine. Okay, Stephen, before we move on, anything else that you want to bring up? Because I know you've always got stuff buzzing around your head.
I'm interested to hear what the discussion is, what the decision is on whether to give priority to people in the WIT and how to handle the fact that we're getting applicants who are not
Right.
in the WIT. I thought
Very
that was
good.
interesting.
Your question will be answered. Thea came up with a great method, and I'm very supportive. I think it was a perfect job, and even the categories, so that's good. So with no further ado, let's get on into it. Doriandra, do you want to start by giving kind of a little bit of an overview of where we're at? And if after that, Thea, you want to give us some details about some of the stuff you've been working on, if you're okay with that? Okay, cool. Okay,
Brandon and I did this together, so.
Well, good for you both. That's lovely.
It was great.
I am a firm believer in collective intelligence. So
yeah, just that little bit of help from Thea was like, or just like coming back to a couple things and then going back with Thea and talking through it. It's like suddenly just the road got clear as to how to push forward. I'm so grateful, Thea. So
yay.
Yeah, so Thea put her school teacher's cap on and realized that the only equitable way to do this was through rubric. So
right.
She sorted that out, which is awesome because now I have a formal sheet that looks like this. We'll share it too, but this is just amazing because now, here, let's put it in the chats. It's much better. Or she can explain that part. Yeah, let's see. Thea's going to talk about that. Let me just give it a quick overview. Where we're at now is with the couple forms that Thea put together for me and then did the rubric. I was able to kind of fast track through the ones that were stuck in the queue.
Nice.
So there's 4 now in the spreadsheet that need to be paid. And by following just our kind of collective ideas and then using the rubric, which incentivizes folks in the WIT, I was able to get those 4 through. And so now I just need to meet with Drea about how those checks get cut and when, and we want to get into a bi-monthly pattern.
Yeah.
But the things that I have come to figure out will be mostly that well, we have a lot. That's where we're at. Let's let Thea explain her part and then we'll dive in deeper if that's okay.
Okie dokie. Thea.
So I want to pull them up to see if I can show them, but I'm not sure I can do. We're going to start backwards because that's what I've got up first. How's that?
That's fine.
And am I allowed to share the screen? There I am.
As far as I know.
Okay. Are you all able to see the application acceptance and denial notification?
I don't.
Oh, wait. I have to hit share first.
There you go.
Okay. That's much better.
Okay. We have tweaked it a little bit because we had to add in, but basically every applicant's name would go in here, the date they applied, and the date it was reviewed. And then we can put a check mark in here that it was accepted instead of this bullet point.
Right.
and they're going to get an email. If
Got
it
it.
was denied, it says either their forms were incomplete, their income was not eligible,
Right.
or the landlord could not be verified. But we've added in there are landlords that will not accept payment. So we've added could not verify / what was your wording? Do you remember, Doriandra?
No, I added a fourth thing there that said landlord was unable to accept back rental payments at this time, or something to that effect. Landlord
Okay.
was unable to accept, therefore it didn't put the onus on them like they were such terrible, but that's, yeah.
Okay.
I didn't want
Well,
to start a storm with, the tenant being, anyway, that seemed like the clearest way to say it.
And so where issues come up is if a tenant is so far behind on rent, and you had the brilliant idea of Anon of paying like 2 months rent at a time,
Right.
but our grant limits us to 3 months. So we would have
6.
6 months. Okay, so we could do 3 months of it. Then that would be okay. But you also put the landlord in a situation where they accept it. This person chooses not to go on and they have to start the process all over. And generally when they've reached that point, they've worked with a tenant for a long time to try and get them moving, and they may or may not move. The tenant might not have the ability to move forward and continue paying rent.
Right.
So
I think you may be right. I don't doubt it for a second that there are some who are at their wits' end and don't want to deal with it anymore. I would say, however, that the idea of doing the one back rent, one future rent thing is a tool that's available to be used if it is useful, right?
Are we allowed to pay future rent though? From the grant writing?
They changed it. I think you're allowed to do that now, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Can I back up two points though, real quick?
Absolutely.
Yeah, what Thea, I just want to chime in on what Thea said in a real world example, which happened yesterday. I finally was able to get through to the management company that had kind of our most complex case, where a woman had was in arrears for 6 months of rent and had all the late charges accrued, and they were at the point of the 72-hour eviction. And, I had a real frank conversation with that management company, and that's exactly like Thea predicted, exactly what they would say, which was just that, and they said it so kindly. They just said, we have tried to work for these last 7 months. And the bottom line is this tenant cannot afford this unit. And so we have to press forward with the legal eviction. And I said, well, we're an opportunity. We wanted to suggest that we would pay like forward, but in this case, like to do Anon's idea that we would pick up,
right,
and to try to ensure that they would stay in the building. But in that case, they just couldn't do it. And so that applicant had to be denied for that reason.
Yep.
But then another real life story, then one of our other applicants was behind for December and anticipated not being able to pay for January and February. And so, that tenant or that landlord in that situation was very much grateful and wanted to accept the funds to keep the tenant in. So I think that it's, what Anon was worried about from the beginning was like, we pay people up and then they get booted out anyway. It's a really case by case conversation between the landlords and our applicants. And so I feel happy to be on the other side of like having two of those now with one success and one failure. Now I understand like how the conversations can go, and it's good.
Yay.
I have a question.
Yes, Delinia.
For the one who cannot stay, can we use it for deposits or something, or is it move on to the next applicant? How does that work?
It's got to just be move on to the next applicant, because in that case, that person owed almost 9,000 in back rent. And
No, I mean, like, get them into a new place.
exactly. That's, yeah. See, I feel like that should be something that we can do. Thea and I had talked about, trying to establish kind of like boundaries or how we're going to do this. And the grant is very specific in that we cannot help somebody twice. And so in this case, though, this is a great opportunity. Well, if this person can't be helped in the one scenario, which is like our level A, which is helping with rent payments, then if she can come back around in a couple months settled and ready to go and somehow magically have found another rental that would accept her, given the horrible eviction thing that's now stuck for many years, then yes, we can like talk to that person again and move forward, because it's like it's two separate subsets of the grant. So
Okay.
like we couldn't help her, for instance, if she got a new place and then fell into the same pattern and was unable to pay, if we had been able to help her this time. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah, that makes sense.
Got it.
But if she found a new place herself, could she reapply?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, should we have it on the form somehow? Do you know what I mean? Like, if you weren't accepted, you can reapply if you find a new place. I don't know.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's so great. I wrote to her yesterday because she was like, well, how can I fix my application and whatnot? I'm just like, I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do in this moment, but please come back to us if you can find another rental, and we'll be able to help on the other side of acquiring it. So yeah, it's just about, I'm just going to communicate those things. And Thea brought that up, like maybe with the acceptance letters, we put something that says, this is the only time we can accept this, but I'm going to stay on top of it. And I've got really good organization within our responses and my Google file. So I'd catch someone that was reapplying. So, it could be somebody that's reapplying within one household at the same address. And so I'll kind of have to keep track of that, but.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. What you thinking, Stephen?
This magic spreadsheet, is it on a shared drive, or does somebody else have a copy of it in case anything should happen to Doriandra?
Oh,
It's on a shared drive.
Great, good.
yeah.
Always good to have a backup. That's right.
Well, is it? Oh, yeah. I've shared it with. Yeah, that's right. It's shared with all of you guys. Yeah, that's right.
I'm still learning how to get into those things. I'll figure it out here. I'm like QAnon. Google's a little new to me in some areas, not in other areas, but some areas it is.
Yeah.
So I was able to pull up the rubric to go to your first question, Stephen. So we had to look at, we looked at the form that Doriandra had created, and I just blew it, and that guy's name is on there. So sorry about that.
Wait, we're not seeing that, Thea. We're still seeing the acceptance or denial letter.
Should we maybe?
Okay.
You want me to pause the recording?
Yeah, let's pause the recording.
I just took his name off.
To turn it back off.
All right, we're back.
Okay. Okay, so that feels good. So we'll hold that line at 3 months of aid. And I totally agree with Thea. Like, if you think about it in terms of medical stuff, that's like the amount of time meds start to work, and you get leveled out mentally, or you can find a job, or you can resolve legal crises that are relevant or I think 3 months is the magic marker. So and just some of the feedback too is really good, like from landlords that I've been talking to. I mean, one of our recipients is somebody severely struggling with long haul COVID, and the relief that person is feeling at this point to try to get into the, because all these new long haul COVID programs for disability and relief are in their nascent stages, really, in terms of development. So for that person to have just 3 months to breathe, and then for that landlord to have 3 months to, it's huge. So that we're getting an incredible positive feedback from both sides of the spectrums, the landlords. And you know, it's funny because when we think of landlords, it's usually these, you know, big corporate monsters that own whole city blocks. But these are really good people that are, you know, depending on this income to take care of their families and whatnot. So anyway, everybody's super grateful, and I just can't believe what positive kind of feedback I'm getting. So that's important. Like, can I tell you guys? Oh, go ahead, Thea.
So I have one more form to share also tonight. Remember, I
Oh, yeah.
have the income verification form. And then on landlords, Lane County has a owner rentals association. So they're private landlords. They don't have property management company. And I think it would be beneficial for us to reach out to them because they get phone calls to their helpline from landlords about, hey, I have a tenant that doesn't have any money. What do I do? Or I have a tenant I need to evict. But if they knew this resource was out there, they could send their tenant to us. But I didn't want to reach out to them until I talked to the group.
Can I chime in?
Absolutely. I have to let a cat out. I'll be right back.
Oh, okay. I almost feel like in that case, I mean, I had that somebody asked me that yesterday too. Can I have another tenant that's having a problem? Can I send them to your program? And I honestly, my first thought was like, our job in this is more about helping the renter first than the landlord. And so obviously helping the landlord helps the tenant. But I just wonder about that paradigm. Like from where I'm sitting, I'd rather not advertise it to landlords. I'd rather advertise it to renters that need support.
Right. So, but what I'm saying from the landlord perspective is I'm calling the helpline and I hear, oh, I have somebody that can help my tenant out. If that tenant's willing to take the initiative, I can send it to my tenant. Like I had a tenant one time that I said, hey, you need to call St. Vincent de Paul's. They will help you out. They did. St. Vinny's got a hold of me and they helped him with rent for 1 month. So the tenant had to take some initiative.
I'm kind of in the same boat with, because here now, you know, a landlord's calling and I don't know. I kind of want to make it for the recipient. Like they have to reach out. I get your point, but if, you know, you also want to help as many landlords as you possibly can.
This isn't helping the landlord. This is helping the tenant. You're letting the landlord know there is a resource out there for your tenants. Just like I know St. Vincent de Paul is out there for my tenants.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't care either way. I just thought, well, it's one way if because these are private landlords that don't know this kind of stuff. They're newbies. They are the people that are, this is how they're making their retirement or their income or supporting their families. And so this is where they go for education. So do you guys think about it? I mean, it sounds like we have so many applicants already that it doesn't really matter.
That's the other piece. Like right now, you know, we're starting to get a lot more applicants than, I don't know.
I on the one hand, what we're doing is public information. It's not like we're trying to hide it from anybody. On the other hand, if we're getting so many applications, as you were saying, Doriandra, you're right now kind of splitting your time, but you know, come February, you're probably going to be able to put your full time into that.
Full time February, the top of February.
We might want to, if you're getting a whole lot of applications right now to the point where it's difficult to fulfill all those responsibilities, we may want to come up with other ways of getting the information out so that later when you've got more time, we can kind of like expand on that. But I think right now, at least from what I'm hearing, we're not necessarily needing to expand that just yet. Does that make any kind of sense?
Yep.
But I like the idea, Thea. I mean, it's public information. I
Yeah.
mean, there's no particular reason to be keeping that from people. It's just right now we're a little bit overwhelmed.
Right.
We will be less overwhelmed in February.
Yeah. And I mean, and I'm just kind of looking at the data as it comes in and gauging how it's picking up.
Right.
I think that by the time that this is just huge, I'll be done with the KLCC commitment and then I can just dive fully into this. But
Yay.
but I think, yeah, I think like some of the referrals are coming in, primarily they're coming in from the 211 thing, which is helpful, but that's okay. That's another story. Go ahead, Thea. Let's see the last one.
The last slide. Okay, let's see if this is gonna come up.
Yay.
Oh, we like it when it works.
Oh yeah.
So this was the income verification, because it gets tricky because you have people that have been out of work or they work for cash
Right.
or and Doriandra can speak to the language of the grant, but these were the categories we put in there so that we can know whether they truly need the money or they're asking their friend to pretend they're the landlord or their boss and say they make the money. So this is what
Right.
they have to do. You want to speak to this, Doriandra?
Yeah, this is, oh boy, this
Are
is a
we
tough.
collecting this though? We're not collecting this information, correct?
We are. What
Okay.
what do you mean? We're
Like,
not,
well, like their pay stubs,
No.
tax, things like, okay.
no. Yeah, I don't want to do that. But this is such a bizarrely intense gray zone. and I think Thea's point in this form she made is probably about the safest we can go, because these forms are, yeah, let's see, let me back up. What was maddening was that Dulce, Sabrina from OHA, right, said, no, we don't have a formal form that they can say how much they make. It's only this no income, or it's only I don't have proof of income. And then from there, it's up to us as a CBO to either accept the self-attestation that they're under 80% AMI or dive deeper. And given how passionate we are as a group to be equitable and help as many people as we can, I'm veering on the point of saying, I need to see some proof of income or some proof of something,
Well,
because
here's where that kind of falls into it's not really a gray area besides HIPAA, information security. That's kind of my background. And a lot of these things, we as an organization, we cannot collect and keep it, because the Google Drive, even though, there's certain people in there, it doesn't get gray. We're not allowed to store that information. Does that make sense?
it does. So
So if there's a way of verifying them without keeping their information,
I'm not going to keep any of that. Yeah, that's why we have that separate email that I set up that is not mine nor the council's. It's just for this program.
okay.
And I'll show you this actual, let's look at this absolute language here that's kind of informed my thought process on this.
While you're looking for it, I'll touch on
Because
that.
I'm talking
Doriandra.
about WCC as a nonprofit, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not
Yeah,
even talking about the grant stuff. I'm talking about like our organization as a whole.
So Delinia, they can show it without, like, if I have a tenant that comes to me that I've had people apply for, they don't have work, they've just gotten a job, but they've saved up enough money to rent from me. They've brought me their bank statements and their current pay stubs or their tax records. I don't keep them, but they bring them to me, they show them to me so that I have some proof that they have some kind of income. In this case, it's going to prove that they don't have enough income, but they keep them. So they
Okay.
can show
As
them
long
to
as
you.
we're like, yeah,
Yeah,
we
we're
can
not
have
going to store them.
We don't want them.
Doriandra look at them or whoever look at them, but we can't keep them or store them anywhere.
No, we're
gonna
not
do
going
it.
to.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only place that will be is in the email chain. And the email chain has been set up so that I'm not answering as myself. I'm just answering as the WCC Public Health and Safety Committee.
But that's what I'm talking about. That within itself, those informations that you're asking for has to go to a secured email. And when I say secured, I mean even an online, just being online. So I'll touch base with you on it, but I don't know if you've ever gotten one from the city or anything like that, that this is an external email and it has to have like almost like a VPN to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but again, like I think Thea's point is valid in this, that if somebody's applying for a rental with Thea, they're just going to send her a quick snapshot of the bank statement, or they're going to send a quick snapshot of their pay stub. This happens like all the time, and I don't think it
But
you know,
she's a private owner, which is different,
right,
you know.
because
And,
we're
we're an organization, which is I'll look a little bit more into it, but I think there's only one little thing that you have to do when you're sending emails back and forth when you're asking for that verification information. And there's a security button for it that they're supposed to send it a secured way. Does that make sense?
okay. Yeah, I'm trying to, yeah, I'd like to put the segment into the chat. Let me see if I can take a screenshot and just, we've looked at this before, but let's,
I'll take this off the screen. Do we need to stop sharing, Doriandra?
let's see. I'm trying to get all of it in here. Okay, let's see. Let me try to share this. Oh goodness. Why don't I just put this whole thing in the chat and then we can look at section C together. This is a lot of language to go through, but
And Delinea, they have to sign something when they apply for this. Like, just like I can't give out information until a tenant signs something away, like, so when my tenants move out, I say, you need to give me written permission to give information about you. Because if they're checking for references, I can't, if a non calls me, I can't just say, oh yeah, Delinea was a great tenant, she paid her rent on time. I have to have permission. So they're giving
This
permission
is
for
more
this.
like on the IT side. And when I
Okay.
say that, I mean, it has to be a secured email going back and forth, and then she has to delete the emails when she verifies it. It's just a quick, I know on Google, I don't know how to do it right off the top of my head, but it's just an extra button that you have to press, basically.
okay. Did you guys get that screenshot?
I see it's in the chat.
Okay, so that's just it's a snapshot of what we're talking about.
Eligibility documentation, right?
I don't see it at all.
The screenshot did not display for me. I've got the file name. Do I
So
need
you have to click on it and it will download.
Yeah, first it downloads and then you got to click on it again, which opens it. So it's kind of
or I can share my screen if that's easier. Would that be easier?
I don't see
I got it. I got it. Yeah.
Okay, and I'll share it here for Delinea.
Yeah, sorry, I'm on my phone. It's
oh, yeah, that's different.
Okay, so
Okay.
this is the exact language. Jumping down here, this is talking about self-certification with or within guidelines for remote application and documentation. So if you guys want to read that real quick.
Yeah, yeah.
This is the real kind of clincher here. Housing status does not need to be verified through further documentation other than self-certification. That's somebody saying, yes, this is all I make. But a CBO may wish to obtain more documentation if needed to establish eligibility. So if you
This
keep reading,
documentation must be kept in the client file. It is.
But that's what I'm saying. We're not allowed to even keep that document as the WCC. This is different from, you know, the grant itself. Like we're
Yeah.
supposed to be, you know what I mean?
yep,
Like
definitely.
we're just a neighborhood association and we shouldn't be keeping anybody's information. But besides that, it has to go to them securely and they have to send it to you somehow securely, which I'll show you how to do that. It's just like I said, it's an extra button on like when emails are being sent.
Well,
Okay.
I know Gmail could be encrypted. I don't know if
Exactly.
I don't know if that works. I don't know if that works on everybody's email accounts other than Gmail.
Yeah.
I know the county uses it all the time, but that's
The county uses it. Exactly.
I'm sure all the public, you know, county uses it. I'm sure the city uses it. There's all sorts of public entities that use it, but I don't know how well it works on. Like I've got an EFN account, which is a great account, but doesn't do a lot of these other things that Gmail and
Yeah.
stuff does.
Yeah.
So the point being is a person's individual email account may not work like this. They may have, in order for it to work,
Yep.
they may have to actually set a Gmail account up.
Exactly. That's definitely a concern when you were speaking to Linnea. But to go a little further, yeah, we should have a stopgap for that. Like if Anand is saying, yeah, because I'm sorry, to back up, the 4 people now that have been qualified, one of them was qualified because they were already on a social service program that you have to be low income to receive. So that was easy, right? No need to go through all this. Somebody else filled in the no income certification from the state of Oregon that says under penalty of perjury, this is true. You know what I mean? So there's other ways that we can get to this proof of income. Where I'm stuck now is potential fraud. Like, how do we determine that? And then that's when, I mean, meaning like if we can't, if the normal other ways of determining income can't be met, and then they have to send me a pay stub or something, then we should look at how to do it safely, like Linnea is saying.
Yeah.
But
Exactly. Just like when it comes to like their total private information, pay stubs, anything like that, all the other stuff, perfect. But when it comes to like more verification, then we definitely need to discuss that piece.
Yeah,
Or I'll do a
So-
little research on that.
thank
So
you,
Doriandra,
Dorian.
there is a form from the state that they can fill out that says they don't have enough income.
yeah, I have 2 forms from the state. One says I am no income, period. The other one says I have income, but I can't provide proof, like pay stubs. So I have 2 of those income forms. What I don't have is the one in the middle that says I make this much money. And the state does that on purpose, I guess, because that's where you have to dig a little deeper. Can this person qualify for other loans or, I mean, other
Okay.
social service programs? You know, or
I'm gonna guess we're not gonna run into it. I'm gonna guess it's either gonna be no or not enough money, and that they could fill
Well-
out that form.
Well, yeah,
See-
I think the Doriandra's concern, and do correct me if I'm wrong, is that once people know this money's out there, there are some people of nefarious minds
yes,
who may decide that, oh, this is a great way to not have to pay my rent for a month or 2. And although we probably aren't going to run into a lot of it, that doesn't mean we're not going to run into any of it. And actually, it's going to look really good on our part if we catch any of it.
Yeah.
Because then we can go back to the grant people and say, look, we made sure that your money was well spent. right? So if we have a process, in fact, even if we don't catch it, if we have a process, if we
Yeah,
have a good
exactly.
process, it's going to look really good next time we apply for another grant.
Well, and that's kind of what Thea's form was about, was that
Yeah.
like, how are we certifying that this income is correct or meets the eligibility?
Exactly.
And I mean, look, I was telling Anand and Thea this the other day. Technically, the 80% AMI, let's see, if I'm looking at it right now, I'm pretty much, I would be eligible right now almost. It's just crazy how actually high it is. I mean, I'm working from a legal chart, which is like on my whiteboard here that's got these, if you're a family of 4, this is how much you can make. That's kind of, so it's not like they've set this bar really, really low. This, the traditional AMIs go 30%, which is extremely low income, 50, very low income, and then 80% under the AMI, which is like the area medium income.
Right.
And so 80% under is very reasonable. So I'm relieved because the grant compliance is that you have to be at that 80% or under. So there's a huge spectrum there.
And I can let me think about that a little bit as far as like how we can get their information. You haven't run into it yet though. Is that correct?
Well, I'd like to turn the camera off or the recording off and show you guys something
I will do that. Give me just a second.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I guess that's what I was going to tell you guys. Just
20
4
out of
4 out of 20, right? We're in the Whiteaker.
I kind of thought about it a little bit, and I guess my thought, I do want to help everybody in the WIT first if we can, but then thinking of it from a grant standpoint is the faster we get rid of that money, they might offer more money to continue the program.
Yep.
So to me, yeah, I like Thea's paper. Let's keep it with that. But
The
that
rubric is nice in that there is you do get a little bit more for being in Whiteaker, but it doesn't eliminate you if you're not. So
yeah,
Exactly.
it's
If
a
we would
good
like to
balance.
give more preference to the WIT, we could always make it 4 instead of 2 for being the WIT.
there you go. Yeah.
We worked hard at trying to figure that out. And I'm gonna guess our new governor is gonna dump some money into housing. And so these grants might go up.
It's interesting. Not only is our new governor very interested in that, just a few days ago, there was a major federal project that was announced. So we'll kind of have to keep an eye and see where that goes too. What was it? Decreasing homelessness by 25% by 2025. And that's going to involve a lot of housing and a bunch of other projects too. So yeah, it's a coming thing.
So
It is.
in this wildness, Miley, who is here in the Whiteaker, built a lot of low-income apartments.
Cool.
And I woke up at 4 the other morning and thought, I need to go knock on their door and say, why don't you guys buy the lot across the way and start putting some tiny homes on there, or your quads that they have, because they have the quads right there on Clark and Van Buren.
Right.
And put some more low-income housing here. And how could the Whiteaker Community Council work with you to help this get going?
That'd be great.
Miley is doing the contract at the back of our house for the foster kids.
Cool.
The Dev Northwest. Are we supposed to be at the board meeting at 7?
No, there isn't a board meeting.
Oh, okay. Could somebody send me the link to the shared drive and maybe add me to the list of those authorized to be in there? Because I didn't realize there was one. That's why I had my question.
Very
Sure.
good.
Yeah. Do you want to see the? It's kind of hard to. What? There's a lot in there, Stephen. What specifically are you looking at or wanting?
Just give me access to enough information so I can join the conversation intelligently without asking stupid questions.
Okay.
But they're so fun.
Even there is no stupid question.
No, no stupid questions.
The little stupid people ask them.
No.
So it is actually after 7 o'clock. Is there anything more that we need to go over? I think we did a great job going over everything so far. And
Yeah.
Thea, thank you very much for all the help you've done. You undoubtedly are saving people's lives by all the work that you're doing. And I really do appreciate that. Doriandra, thank you very much. If there's any way we can get you more help, we're damn well gonna do it. And Delinia, thank you for just being there because, hey, you're great. And Stephen, thanks for never giving up on us.
Yes.
So I
So-
do,
It gives me a really warm feeling to be
Anon?
associated with this
Yeah.
incredible program.
Ditto.
Thank you.
I did approach my neighbor up the street who
Uh-huh.
originally thought about doing our social media for us.
Mhm.
And then he went to work for Ninkasi and now he's working somewhere else.
Right.
But I talked to him about it.
Uh-huh.
Do we need a social media person? I'm trying to get him to volunteer.
I
But
think we really do.
Doriandra, as a neighbor, because he wants to be part of our neighborhood, how
Cool.
many hours do you think a week it would take for a social media person to post some things, read the DMs? I sound like I know what I'm talking about.
No,
I don't know what a DM is. I'm sorry. I'm over 60.
Yeah.
But how
not-
many hours? Because I'm going to see him on Sunday and I want to ask him if he'd be willing to do it or if he knows somebody that's willing to do it for free.
Okay, yeah, heads up, it may be an awkward conversation, or I don't know. Ian tried to ask him to like develop this vast social media platform or communication thing for WCC, and it all was just a huge waste of many meetings. And I was just like, "What are you doing?" Because it was huge.
Well, let's you and I talk. Okay.
Yeah, I think just, is it Jamie? What is?
No.
I can't remember his name. Anyway, it doesn't matter. If it's the same person, this is a very incredible professional and volunteer maybe 2 hours a week.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. 2 hours
Okay.
a week would alleviate a lot of things off of me and Doriandra.
Yeah,
I will see if I can get him to volunteer for 2 hours a week.
perfect. Okay.
And just to let you know, Thea, sometimes he wouldn't even have to do that because the 2 hours would because people who have that skill, they could just also create a schedule for it
Yeah.
to where it automatically comes out. But I think me and Doriandra have just been flying by the seat of our pants at this point.
Which in some ways is fine because I cannot manage another social media person. I spent so
No, you
much
can't.
of my time trying to manage all these different people that
No.
people were bringing in.
This would have to be somebody who could just do it.
Self-actuate. Yep.
Yeah.
And build
this-
better graphics than I did. I can't stand that thing.
It looks
Love this
good.
little house.
Well, this is his profession was working with Sundance Films and getting them really going. So,
Wow.
Yeah. He's a
yeah.
total pro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so I'm going to put my charm on and beg him.
Nice.
I'll offer babysitting hours or something.
Okay.
I can offer some.
Doriandra, we need to set up some time for you and I to look at things so that we can.
I'll call you
Okay.
tomorrow. I'll call you in the
Okay,
morning.
sounds good.
And
All
just
right.
to let you guys know,
Go ahead.
just really quick, Andrew is very, very overwhelmed right now. So
Oh.
I'm gonna take over some of the he's gonna just work on the old grants that are kind of messed up.
Mhm.
He might have to tap you, which I know he doesn't have, Doriandra, but
Mhm.
and I'm gonna work on the taxes and the things that kind of fell behind. I'm gonna be talking to Drea's sick right now.
Oh,
Yeah, she's got a sinus infection, but
Mm.
I'm gonna have to meet with her and the accountant who's gonna be doing our taxes soon.
mhm.
So how close are we to like starting to send those checks out?
Oh,
you know?
excellent point. I sent their approval letters yesterday,
Okay.
and people are like over the moon excited. And that's why I sent you guys a sample of what that looks like. So
Okay.
we need to get those checks cut absolutely before before we all break for holiday. That's just essential. So how can we get in there and do that if she's sick? Because now we have landlords counting on it and the tenants, so.
I
like,
will do my best to, she's still working.
Yeah, I'm sure she is. She works through everything, yeah.
Yes, she's
okay.
still working, but
Okay.
I'll get with her. And you said those are the people who are already approved by you guys?
Yep.
And those are the amounts, because I looked at it today, and those are the amounts that we're doing.
Yeah, and you're in the right spreadsheet, right? It's my budget one that's got like
The
Oh,
names.
yeah, and also just to clarify, when you look at that spreadsheet, it's self-explanatory. All the
I
other
feel like it was really great spreadsheet, but I wasn't.
all the other
Steven?
categories are redundant because we're not filling them. And I'm just going to go all the way through and use our maximum 17,500. And then we have that money budgeted from November too, when I was just trying to sort out everything. So we have some overflow, and we should just get everybody in the queue handled for December. Before then, I'll start a fresh one and we'll go to January.
Okay, that sounds good. All right, we'll try to get it kicked out this week as soon as possible.
From a message from me to Delenia, don't worry about David Lewis's paperwork. That will not come until January. He needs it to come as next year's income, because I think he did pretty well this year. So that paperwork and his W-9 won't come through until the beginning of January.
Oh, I love it. Thank you.
Yeah.
One less thing.
Yeah.
Check it off.
I do have one question, which is,
Yep.
this is the first time I've ever put one of these on and recorded it. I have no idea how to put it on the website. Anybody want to help me with that?
We send it
Yeah,
to Saoirse, and Saoirse puts it on the website.
How do I send it to Saoirse?
Wait, are you talking about the recording for
Yep.
the? That
Oh,
goes,
no, that one?
no.
This
that
recording
goes-
that we are doing right now.
So
Okay.
what computer are you on? A Mac or a PC?
It's a Mac. Yeah, it's a Mac.
Thank God it's a Mac. A sensible man. Okay. What you
Yeah.
what you do is, as soon as you end the meeting for all, you're going to see a little thing that says your meeting is being converted,
Right.
and just let it do its job. Don't turn the Mac off. It's going to
Right.
convert it all, and then it's going to save it into I'm not sure what system you're on, but it should just save it into a thing that then you see,
Right.
and then you drag and drop that onto the YouTube
I
platform.
don't think he has access to the YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh, right. It's going to be too big of a file to send
Is
to
it?
Okay.
anybody. So can you just store it and we'll have it? I mean, because
Sure.
Delaney, you
Yeah,
took
yeah.
down I think you wanted me not to post these on our WCC
Yeah.
Facebook, because I did it one time just out of habit, and then Delaney pulled it down. So, and this was kind of an I don't
Right.
know. I'm fine if this doesn't get on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't planning to put it on Facebook, but we have
Just
that
put-
YouTube
I mean,
thing that we've been.
in the YouTube thing.
Okay.
Are you keeping them in there too, Delaney, or were you just pulling it off of Facebook?
No, I actually, as soon as I'm finished with the meetings, I put it directly on YouTube.
Yeah, that's what I do too.
Okay. I will do my best. I'm sure
Yeah,
it'll be
you
fine.
got this.
If you can't get it on, don't worry about putting it on YouTube.
Okay.
Because I'll give you I can give you access to it
Okay.
to put it on YouTube, but I don't feel like this meeting's really necessary to put
Don't
YouTube.
sweet it. It'll be
Yeah.
fine.
We'll be all
Okay.
right. And
You were
hopefully,
Merry Christmas, guys. Happy
Yeah,
holidays.
you're also fabulous. Yay, it's a big heart.
Merry,
Yeah.
Merry
Yes.
everything.
Merry everything.
yes, Merry
all of it.
everything.
Group hug.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Be well, everybody.
Okay.
will.
Nighty night.
Bye.